Are you a small business owner that is a little bit distracted? Maybe you have a lot of stuff going on. You don't know how to pull it all in together in order to have the success that you want. There's a statistic that 80% of entrepreneurs don't make it beyond 5 years. If that's something that you want to debunk and you want to be one of those entrepreneurs that makes it beyond those 5 years and well beyond those 5 years, really having systems in place and knowing what you're doing, bringing everything together so that it works cohesively, creates ease and flow in your business is definitely something you want to look at. So I'm going to be bringing up one of our authors in one of our books coming up called Leadership in STEM. And we're going to be talking to Amy Calder about how you can bring that entrepreneurial mindset in, hone it in so that you can have that success that you're looking for. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hi, my name is Lynda Sunshine West. I'm the founder and CEO at Action Takers Publishing, where we help you to get your story out of your head and into the world where it's going to make a greater impact on the planet. We do several interviews where we bring on our authors to interview them to talk about their story, their message, what they do today to help people to make a greater impact on the planet. And then we also have different people that we come in, experts in various fields, to help you to grow your business, your authorship. You can follow us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and at YouTube, and we are Action Takers Publishing. You can find us on all of those there. Go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe, please, so that you get notified when we have different topics coming up. So I'm excited to introduce you to one of our authors, Amy Calder, and she is in this book titled Evolution of Leadership in STEM, Women Catalyzing Change. Amy, I'm so excited to have you here to talk about what it is that you do today. And why don't you, before we really get into it, tell us, how did you get into the STEM world?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. Way back in the beginning, when I was in college, I had a dream or a wish, I guess, to either be a chiropractor or a veterinarian. And I thought that I was going to be one of those, doctor type people, maybe not an MD, but some version of that. So I started my education in biochemistry. And through my career, I've been with companies that have a science background, and that's been something that was important to me. Ultimately, what I've sort of learned in reflection is I really love systems and process, and the science world is really rooted in that and how things work. And so that has really brought me forward to today.
And what is it that you're doing today? Because I know we see behind you Golden Innovation Group. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what Global Innovation Group is and what made you decide to start that company?
Yeah, so Golden Innovation Group is a small business that I started a few years ago. I am focused on helping customers, generally small businesses, uh, streamline their operations, automate things that they shouldn't have to touch, really stop focusing on the paperwork and the invoicing and how tools work together, and really focus on their business and what they're good at. I've come across many owners who subscribe to different tools that they don't know what they do, who are overwhelmed by paperwork on
Oh,
their desk, they're behind on invoicing, they don't know who's paid them. All of those things are really where I focus. I feel that process and uh, efficiency are so critical. And so I help companies do that through either a fractional chief operating officer role, where I come on to the team and help in a very deep sense, or a transactional sense, where maybe just a tool evaluation and help people cut out some of those expensive subscriptions.
let's talk about that. Cut out those expensive subscriptions.
Yes.
I remember that there was a time that I used to run a women's mastermind. I ran it for 6 years. And
Yeah.
one of my clients, she said, I asked her, well, what do you want to accomplish this month? Right. So I would ask them, what do they want to accomplish? And then we would figure out how they can accomplish that. So I asked her, and she said, I want to do this. Like, she wanted to become a photographer. And I said, okay, what do you need to do to become a photographer? She said, well, I bought all these courses. I bought like 15 courses. I haven't watched any of them. I said, okay, go look at all those 15 courses and really think about which of those are the ones that are going to help you to become a photographer this month, right? Like, just look at it from that perspective. And then she looked them over, all of the 15 courses. And I think she had 3 courses that she bought that she could actually use for what she wanted to do in her business. And I said, well, what are you going to do with those other 12? You can get rid of those. It might feel painful at the beginning. So this is what I want to talk about right now, is it might feel painful to get rid of something that you spent money on. But what's happening is it's really weighing you down.
Yeah, you're ultimately better for it.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because part of efficiency work is getting rid of the junk that is weighing us down. And emotionally and mentally speaking, for some people, it's hard to let go of those things. So how do you help people through those kinds of situations? Like, they're sitting on something they've been sitting on for a long time. They're probably never going to do anything with it. How do you help them with that?
Yeah, so I feel that my unique selling proposition, what really I have to offer that's just, more than just an assessment, is the history I have in leadership with people. I have implemented very large changes at a $2 billion company, which is not that easy when you're taking emotions and politics and people into account. You have to understand what people are willing to do, what their barriers are, what they're, what's going to make them look good or bad in front of other people. And I think what you're hitting on is, it feels a little bit like a failure when you just walk away from something you've invested in, but it's actually a better decision to move forward. And so really helping people through that emotional and, change curve, for those of you familiar, is a big part of what I do. It's not just, here's a tool, go run with it. Those are the people I help when they've got a tool that they never ran with, and they're just paying for.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I have had to work on a lot. Is, there's a saying that when we make a decision, we actually make an incision. And the incision is incising or cutting out the stuff that's not working for us. And then we actually, I don't know about you, but for me, when I make a decision that's empowering me, that's helping me to move forward, I feel lighter and I feel great. And I'm proud of myself for doing it, and not letting myself hold on to the baggage of it. Like, oh, I let that go. I can't believe I did that. I'm a failure. That right there, that mental piece is huge for helping us to move forward, because you work with a lot of people, small businesses under 10 people and under. And
Right.
so there's a lot of mindset stuff that's like,
Yeah.
you work with $2 billion companies, but you also work with these really smaller companies to help them. And a lot of that mindset, how much would you say, like, if you were to take percentages, how
Mhm.
much percentage would you say mindset plays a role in success?
Oh, wow. I would say it's over 80%, probably 90. If you're not open to it, if you're not willing to learn something or change or do something different, even if you've made an investment in time or money, nothing will be different. And so it's really more about you and about what you're open to and if you're ready. I like to think that some of my history has helped with that. So I bought a franchise. I
Ooh.
walked
What
away
franchise
from
did you buy? Can you tell us?
I'm not sure I should share because I've walked
Okay.
away from that
Okay.
franchise. It wasn't a good fit. It was a big investment financially. It was a big investment in time. I spent a year of marketing going down a path, but I walked away from it and I'm better for it because I just cut that part out and moved forward. And so those are some of the skills that I help my clients. Like, I understand maybe you paid someone a lot of money to do this, but you're
Mhm.
not actually using it and it's not benefiting you. That change piece and working through that emotional piece, back to your question, is just almost everything. It's almost everything in terms of what they're going to realize.
Yeah. Oh, that's so big. What immediately came to mind is I incised my ex-husband, and that
I'm
was
sure
one of the
that's a big one.
yeah, one of the greatest decisions I ever made in my life was to let that go, because boy, was
Yeah,
that weighing me down. And it was only 2 years. I was only with him for 2 years. And it was 2 years of just heavy, heavy, heavy. I walked around like Eeyore.
yeah.
Oh, when's my
You
day gonna be?
you're in a club now, right? Of these people that feel lighter because they
A
they
club.
they got rid of something or they
Yeah.
changed something. The courage to make that change is a big step.
Yeah, I have a friend who speaks about positive mental attitudes and things like this. And
Yeah.
one of the first things she says is like, she said, last week no, she said, I lost 165 pounds. I divorced my husband, something like that. It's like,
Yes.
because it really is,
Congratulations.
right? It's that extra
Yeah,
weight that we're carrying around. And the
that's
same thing happens in business, just like you mentioned, is like if you spend money on something, okay, let's talk about this. Just because you spend money on something doesn't mean you have to do it.
yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
talk
I mean,
about that.
I meet people that have this amazing list of tools. If they utilized all of them,
I'm one of those, by the way.
they
I don't
would
use
be
all of it. Yeah, okay.
maybe more amazing than they are. But, they're paying for a CRM and a marketing tool and a marketing content person and a automation, LinkedIn posting automation and they have it just keeps going. And then they have a bookkeeper and a bookkeeping software and accountant and all these things. And I'm not saying you don't need some of those things, but then you just sort of duct tape them all together to make this very rickety sort of process that you're holding up.
Thank
And
God
so
for duct tape.
thank gosh, but it doesn't have to be that way. And so really taking a impartial look from the outside at this sort of matrix that you've created really helps people see like these two things do the same thing and these two things do the same thing and $500 of your monthly subscriptions are really not being used. And so that's where I really find people feel that experience like a divorce. They get lighter because now they don't have to worry about so much stuff.
Yeah. Oh, so true. So true. I know that you work with people, like 3 months is a minimum length of time to work with somebody. And why don't you talk about that a little bit? Because I know that there are some people out there that say, oh, I can get you up and running and efficient in a month or less or what have you.
Yeah.
But really, even from my own perspective, I have hired a lot of different coaches to help me with different aspects of my business. And like you said, it's kind of like duct taping everything because this person specializes in this, so I hire them. This person, so I
Yeah.
hire all these different people, and I'm surprised I've made it 10 years in business.
I'm sure
Yeah,
it's been amazing.
yeah. But that's all of that has really been just because my grit and fortitude, and like
Yeah.
I know deep down inside that I have it,
Hmm.
whatever it is, but
Yeah.
it's been figuring it out, as I've gone throughout the years, and I've hired those people who say that they can do this for me in a short period of time because I was looking for the short period of time piece
Yeah.
of it because I want it now. I want Daddy, I want an Oompa Loompa now.
That's right. That's right. Well, I completely hear what you're saying because customers that I come in contact with are typically in a little bit of a crisis. They've let something go too long. They're sitting on invoices. They can't keep up. They finally need a solution and they want it soon. And my response to that is, you did that last time and here you're still here. I can usually
Mm,
point to something that is a repeated behavior. 3 months goes by very quickly, and getting taking the time to get to know how things touch one another, how the business person actually thinks, what's important to them, how much effort they're willing to put in. So, should this system work itself, or do we need to have, there's some control that needs to be had. It takes time and it takes a few of their customers to come through the process to really understand. So 3
mm.
months is not that long, but you're also learning how to change yourself, how to change your process, how to change how you think about things. And so those quick fixes, in my opinion, are just not real. They're not going to stay.
Yeah, and I love what you said there about because what you're helping them with is for future as well. It's not
Yeah.
just about fixing the past because if we can learn how to choose the right platforms
Yeah.
before we choose them and say, oh, you know what? I don't think I need that one. Like that's a brilliant move right there. And part of that could be due to FOMO, fear of missing out. And I'm definitely one who has been suspect to that for many years. I would buy something because I felt like I had to do it because they convinced me I needed it, even
Yeah.
though I didn't really, but I bought it because I
And
had FOMO, blah, 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 blah.
it might solve this much of your problem instead of this, it's like a tool that's really good at one little thing. And that's unfortunate because that just adds up.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, though, if you bought the tool and you're not using it,
It's not helping anyone.
it's not
You're
helping anyone.
just a
Yeah.
member of the club.
Oh, except the person you bought it from, it's helping them.
Right. Right. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we're talking to one of the authors, Amy Calder. She is in this book, Evolution of Leadership in STEM. And let's switch to that just a little bit, Amy.
Yeah.
The title of your chapter in that book is Resilience and Reinvention: A Life in STEM Leadership. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your chapter without giving it away?
Yeah, so I mentioned that I started in the sciences. I graduated from college with a biochemistry degree and went into a scientific research company. And that's where really my career, I actually spent many years at that company. But I think, something that's important to note is the journey that people take, that it's not always a straight line. You didn't decide what to do and then become that person. I found very early on that people leadership and leadership of projects and change was really where my heart and soul lied, even though I was in a scientific company. I went on
Mm,
to get a master's degree in organizational management because I loved it so much, and I became a Six Sigma black belt because I loved it so much. So even with the STEM, sort of science and technology, that people piece and people leadership just kept pulling at me and has really guided me through my career. And so my chapter is a bit about some of those left turns and right turns, and how I still feel that I have accomplished quite a bit, and feel good about my journey.
that's awesome. I love how, we have an idea and then we get into it and sometimes it morphs into something else, but that's because of the path we've chosen that has
Yeah.
gotten us there. And, for me doing what I'm doing today, I mean, I never, ever, ever in my life ever imagined I would be doing anything I'm doing today, but it's the path that I've chosen, right? That got me here. So I want to show that you can get a copy of the book. Let me bring it up here so I have it on the screen. The Evolution of Leadership in STEM. You can get a copy of that book at actiontakerspublishing.com/STEM. And there's also free gifts from our authors over there. So go cash in on those free gifts. So Amy, with the work that you do and the innovation that you help other people with, and first of all, I don't know why I just moved to this right now, but you have that thing that says Madison, Wisconsin there. Why don't you
Yeah.
tell us what that is? For those who are wondering, some people might be looking, because that was my first question. Like, what is that?
Yeah, so which way? Yeah, so that is, I live in Madison, Wisconsin, and that the gold part there that you can't see clearly is a map of the city, and that's the latitude and longitude across the bottom there. But it's really my home base. I've grown up here. I moved out of state a few times, but of course end up back here. It's where my heart and soul is, and if you've been to Madison, you might understand. But it's a great city to live in.
Do you have one of those cheese heads that you wear during football
I've
season?
given them as gifts, but I don't have one myself. But if
Cheese
if you're
heads.
if you're part of this part of the country, Packers is a big deal, the Green Bay Packers and the Wisconsin Badgers, and I am a football fan. So,
There you go. Awesome. Awesome. I love it. Well, I think it's awesome what you're doing to help entrepreneurs, because there are, millions of us out there, and that statistic of 80% failing within the first 5 years. That's a statistic that you shared with me, and I'm having a hard time saying the word statistic. So that's a number that you shared with me. And what is something that we can do to turn that around so that maybe it turns to 75% instead of 80%?
yeah, well, I think business owners, or I know this because I am one, they start their business because they have a passion about something. And then as you proceed, you realize that you have to fill the role of everything. And some of those other things that are not your passion tend to get in your way. So as you grow your business, really think about what motivates you, what you're good at, and start to bring in other people to do those other things. That's really what I'm here to do for businesses is operations is my passion, so let me do it. Or there might be another person that marketing is their passion, let them do it. Focus on what you do well, on what you love, and try to get some of those things off your plate, because when you do it all, it just buries you. And then when you're buried, that's that moment you think, I'm just going to get a full-time job and get out of this. And I see that repeatedly, and I want to help those people kind of get over that hump of maybe I shouldn't be doing this, and stay the course.
Yeah, I think that's so valuable and so important because I know exactly what you're talking about. When I first started entrepreneurship, first of all, I thought I had to do everything. And I
Yeah,
never thought about like, how can I delegate to anybody else? And even if I was going to delegate, how would I know who to whom, I should delegate and what should I delegate to them? Like there's so many questions, more questions than answers, I think, at the
yeah,
beginning, especially. So working with someone like you can help you to get track, just get like on a track at the beginning instead
yeah.
of flailing around. I flailed around the first 6.5 years,
Sure.
that's
And that's not a unique story. You're very similar to many.
right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting because if most fail the first 5 years, like, what are like the only difference of me, I think, is that I never gave up on myself. And I never said, I have to bury my head in the sand. I have to give up because this is not
Yeah.
going to work. It's not working, but for me to say it's not going to work. And that's where I think might be the difference, is that I
Yeah.
knew and still know deep down within my soul that this is going to work. And it's just, I had to keep figuring it out. Like,
Yeah, find your path and your people. I think that's a key piece of it is find people you can learn from, find people you respect, find people you like. I think the other thing is if you just go Google someone and hire them, it may not be a good fit. You need to find an individual or a set of individuals that really are supporting you and your company and the growth that you see.
yeah, yeah. So, so yeah, it just immediately came to mind of somebody I know who, when I talk to them, I feel like I'm crossing my arms. I'm probably not, but mentally I'm
Yeah,
crossing my arms like,
you
I
can
can't hear
tell.
you. I
Yeah.
don't want to hear a word you're saying.
It's so
I,
critical. The people piece is the make or break. Whether you
yeah.
adopt what you say you're going to adopt, whether you like to take in information from certain people or certain types of people, it all lies, kind of right here.
Yeah, yeah. Finding the right people is so important. So if Amy is the right person for you, you can reach out to her at goldeninnovationgroup.com. That's globalinnovationgroup.com. And why don't you share with us, Amy, when we head over to your website, what are we going to find over there?
Yeah, so I have a list of services. I talked a lot today about software consolidation. I have some information about what is the fractional COO and if that might be right for you. Um, I offer some transactional activities such as project or program management if you need to implement something, but also just a lot about me. Like I said, it's important to get to know who might be working
Mhm.
with you, and so you can see some of my history and understand me as a person. And same if you visit my social sites, which you'll be linked to from there. So, if I seem like someone who can help you, then I'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Again, go to goldeninnovationgroup.com. If you feel like this is something that might interest you to find out a little bit more about what Amy does and how she can help you, please reach out to her. And Amy, do you offer consultations for people so they can figure out, like, is this the right fit for me? Is this the right time for me, or whatever questions that they might have?
Absolutely. The first call is definitely free. I like to have 1 to 2 discovery calls to really
Mm.
understand what are your goals? What are you trying to what would make you happier? What are you trying to accomplish? Because it really needs to be a two-way fit. I don't want to overpromise and I want to make sure that it works within what you're doing today.
Awesome. Well, I will be reaching out for sure.
I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, because I definitely can see how you can help us at Action Takers Publishing. And again, thank you for doing what you do to help more entrepreneurs become successful. Because we get into entrepreneurship for the most part, most people get into it because of the passion that we have for
Yeah.
whatever it is that we're offering. And how can we do that if we're not if we quit? If we
Yeah.
quit.
Yeah,
And
if you let
so
the other things really take you out, you have to solve for that pretty quickly.
yeah, yeah. So let's do that, Amy. We're
Yeah,
gonna hop on a
sounds
call and
great.
I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be great.
Thanks,
And
Linda.
and thank you so much for being here, being part of this book, sharing your message, and again, helping people to just get themselves going so that they can make a greater impact on the planet, which is the ultimate goal here. That's the ultimate goal. Any last words from you, Amy?
Just I back to sort of the failure rate of businesses, I would like to leave this call just encouraging anyone listening, keep going. There's always a solution. Don't get yourself down, and maybe don't apply for that next job, because I think that's what I see people doing is, they panic and go back to something they left intentionally. And so, there are people out there to help you. And so keep looking.
Awesome. Keep looking, stay the course,
Mhm.
and just you have that resilience to keep getting back up again and just
Yeah.
keep going for that dream that you have. Don't let it die. Don't let it die.
Yeah,
Thanks so much, Amy.
absolutely. Thank you. Have a
You
good
too.
afternoon.
You too. Thank you. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And if you enjoyed this interview, please share it out with other people so they can learn about Amy and how she might be able to help them with their business to grow their business. So thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.
You took the overwhelm out of the whole entire process. You said you set the guidelines, you said how many words to have. And it's like, once I sat down and started typing, it just all came out so quickly and so easily. And I loved it. And I had fear to write. And I know about that. I know about that blockage within myself, but it just was so amazing how easy the process was working with Action Takers Publishing.